Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe. And every week, Joe's got a great side gig. Joe's these great side gigs. Before he tells us about SuiteRecording, Joe, tell us what we're talking about. What, Contap today? Is it Contap?
Yeah, Coop. It's called Contap, Connntap. It is my latest business endeavor that we've been working on for some time, but it's basically a really nice, portable, and easy way to share just about any content that you have online. It could be your website, it could be your social media, it could be a podcast, it could be just about anything, and it works through the technology. It's called NFC, which is the smartphone tap tech. We sell a product line. We have key fobs, we have wristbands, we have table stands, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's really, it's really efficient for networking and just for sharing whatever it is that you want to share with people. So contact me to learn more or check out contap.com, Conntap.
Okay, and tell us a little more about SuiteRecording, because that's where I'm here today. I'm here in the recording room. Tell us about SuiteRecording.
Yeah, brother, you're here every Friday, man. I look forward to it. SuiteRecording is a content and podcast studio here in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, where we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of video and audio content, particularly podcasts and YouTube, but it just could be social media content as well, which just about every business could use these days. It's also a great tool for, of course, generating a lot of content like video clips, blog posts, all that, but really great for business development too, kind of the way that Coop uses it to strengthen his connections and to make new ones here on his podcast. So if you're interested in learning more about how podcasting can help you, then contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
A lot of times people ask me, how do you get on the Coop Tank? And I'll tell you, come to my events. I mean, I swear to God, the other night, I noticed it was Wednesday. I had no guests for this week. So I hit up two of my guests at the Cocktails with Cooper, and they were sitting there talking, they're having a drink. I said, hey, you guys free Friday? And then my third guest, he's in my group, Coffee with Cooper. He sent him an email. I said, hey, are you free today? Because I had nobody. I was going to have you in here, Joe.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I was going to have you in here. Anyway, we do have a great show today. These guys all are out there. They're connecting. They're making stuff happen. Our first guest from Cook Legacy Advisors is Tom Purvenas. How you doing, Tom?
I'm well, thanks, Coop. Thanks for having me on.
All right, and then from Wow One Day Painting, it's Frank Palermo. What's up, Frank?
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on. Yep, thank you.
All right, and then from Sales Tip 101, you can see it in his sign. It's Gary Kurtis. How you doing, Gary?
Delighted to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
So, Tom, tell us a little about what you do for Cook Legacy Advisors.
So, yeah, thanks. So I'm a financial advisor, so helping people meet their financial goals today and tomorrow, and trying to help them reach their retirement goals, financial goals today. So it's a family-owned and operated wealth advisory firm. And so we are independent. So that's an advantage for many folks. You may end up at some of the larger houses where, in fact, they have a particular prescription. We're going to do a holistic plan with all of our clients and make sure that we're meeting their goals where they are today and helping them reach their future financial goals. So,
okay, tell Frank, tell me more about Wow One Day Painting.
Yeah, so I'm the owner of this franchise called Wow One Day Painting. We do residential, we do commercial, we do interior, we do exterior painting. The concept is to complete a job in a single day. We want to remove that disruption that's in someone's house or their businesses and give them back their space in a timely manner.
It's funny, when we had our house painted inside, we knew the guy, and I think he was on drugs because he would show up like 3 hours late, and I'm like, and then he's bitching the whole time, going, "Oh, I usually get paid this." I'm like, "Dude, you gave me the price." I said, it was just crazy. So, people, it's very important to get a good painter. And finally, my buddy from Sales Tip 101, Gary Kurtis, tell us what Sales Tips 101 is.
As you can see, Steve, it's sales coaching. And I started this 5 years ago, and it was not a coincidence that 5 years ago, the company was shut down, pandemic. You had a lot of people that were laid off, and a lot of them fell into something new. And I recognized early on that they're not going to be successful if they don't have any selling skills at all. How are they going to get clients? And I decided that I would leverage my long, successful career to really help them with what they needed to get to where they're trying to go.
Okay, so Frankie, let me ask you, how did you end up owning a franchise for painting? Because it's like, I mean, what was your path to getting there?
Yeah, I'll try to make this a long story short one. So I was I started a painting business a couple years ago, and it was something to do on the side on the weekends. It was called Give Back Paint. The concept was after every single job that I completed, a portion of it would go to a charity of the customer's choosing. My first customer was my mother-in-law. Shout out to Jeanette. Um, that job took me months to do, and it was just me on the weekends doing this. Sorry about that, Jeanette. Just wanted to say, after that moment, I shelved the business. It wasn't until I went to a conference for the job that I was actually working at Monday through Friday. And at this conference, Wow One Day Painting was the sister franchise of the company I was working for. They had guest speakers, and those guest speakers were the franchise partners, and they were talking about how they gave back to their community. And that really spoke well to me. I thought, let me just look into this. And it all just made sense, and I bought into it.
Okay. How about you, Gary? Because I know, I mean, how did you end up? You did it during the pandemic, but what is your past? I know you're in sales, but what is your path to running this company?
So as I mentioned before, I completed my career and I really felt very passionate that I had so much to offer people. And getting back to what I was explaining before, I knew that these people needed help and they didn't have a lot of options. The options were all these big sales training companies that they charge thousands of dollars, or they could spend thousands of hours trying to read all this stuff, watch videos, and there weren't a lot of options for them. And I thought, you know what? I have so much knowledge here that I've gained over the years that I can offer them. And why not offer them what they really need, which is a real customized approach to really focus on the only two things that really would matter. What are your objectives? What are you trying to do? And what are your challenges? What are the things that are keeping you from getting there? And I felt that by doing that, I would have so much to offer. And it's actually worked out very well in that respect.
Okay. How about you, Tom? What was your path to being, in the business you're in?
Well, it's been a long one, Coop, for sure. You're talking to a guy who went to school for engineering, graduated with a degree in finance, did financial consulting for large corporations for a lot of years, got drug into IT. I retired from IT a few years back and had a friend come to me and say, "Hey, you seem to know a lot about finance. Do you want to be a financial advisor?" I said, "Yeah." So a couple years ago, went out and got the licenses, and now I'm helping people. I think of myself first as a financial educator, try to help people understand finance and investing, and the planning that's necessary for folks to kind of reach their goals, and then help them step through the specifics of, okay, now what do we do, right? So understand where you are, kind of where you're going, and so it's it's fulfilling an itch that I always had. I was always sort of a finance guy, and now I do it full time. It's awesome. I help people. I love that part of it.
Okay, so this year's flying by. It's March. I mean, it's just been crazy. Now,
Mhm.
I'm not a goal setter. I did put it on LinkedIn this year. I said, here's some goals. I'm not a goal setter. Gary, are you a goal setter? And if you are, what are your goals? Some of your goals for 2025?
I'm not a real hard goal setter either, Steve. I mean, my goals are always, and it's the same with my clients. When I have a client, I don't guarantee what your sales are going to be. What I do is I work with you to try to what I call move the ball forward, make progress, and make the kind of progress that you're looking for. And I do the same thing with my business. As long as I'm making progress, that I'm gaining the kind of clients that I'm looking to help, I'm happy with that. That's really what my goals are.
Okay. How about you, Tom? Are you, because you're in the financial world and the markets goes up and down. I
Yeah,
mean, lately it's been crazy, but do you set
a little
goals?
crazy.
And if you do, what are just one or two goals you've set for this year?
Well, so several of the things, Steve. When I kind of look at that, obviously you can set numerical goals, and I have a couple of those, but that's around adding some new clients in and helping them meet some of their goals. But also, some of the stuff has been around networking, getting out to more events that way, and then I'm also trying to be a little more active with social media. Also have some goals around doing some webinars, to try and build the business in that way as well. So yeah, social media, networking, things like that.
How about you, Frankie?
Yeah, there's a couple goals out there. So, just to list off two of them right off the top. One of them is to continue staying consistent with networking. I try to network at least 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm looking more to increase that probably to 6 to 7 times a week. You could do multiple different networking groups in a single day, so just being more consistent with that. The other is more of a financial piece with my business, and that's just getting rid of a lot of debt that I've brought on to myself when I first opened up. So just trying to tackle that debt throughout the year would be great.
Okay. So we all network and we run into, I run into a bunch of people in the financial world. Hell, painting, I think I had 2 or 3 painters at my event the other night. And Gary,
Yep.
we all run into coaches. Okay. There's a lot of you out there. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I remember I went to an event one time and at my whole table, it was all bankers. And I'm like, I have no use for this. So there's a lot out you. So Tom, why is someone going to work with you? What do you offer that other people don't? Because as I said, you can go to a networking event, you can find 6 people what you do. What makes you
100%.
important? What makes you important?
Well, so what makes me important? I think at the end of the day, I bring a lifetime of experience, okay, as well as a wealth of financial knowledge, so that I think I can help folks both where they are in their life. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of life coaching. When you talk about money, that often becomes a conversation about a lot of other things, not necessarily just dollars and cents, but also meeting people where they are in their life and maybe offering. I think I'm part psychologist as well as financial advisor in a lot of our settings. So you have to do both. But I think that the things that I offer is a lifetime full of experience. I've been an investor. I am investing and helping you today. I understand where folks are, and I hopefully can put them in a position to be successful, meet their goals. And in a lot of cases, the conversations are, I don't have goals. Okay, so let's talk about what some of the appropriate goals might just be, right?
Okay.
So.
How about you, Frankie? There's a lot of painters. Well, why am I coming with you? Why am I sitting there and saying, hey, I'm going to call Wow One Day Painting? What's up?
Yeah, I would say the difference with me is I know a lot of people say that they care about people. I'll say that about myself, but I take it to the nth degree. I am passionate about running a business. I am passionate about helping people grow in my business. But painting isn't like the end all be all of who I am. Um, the people that know me, that network with me, and that have gotten to know me through networking, they could ask me for anything, and I'll go help them out. So we just had a her name's Rachel. She was actually at one of your event at Splits, and she's in one of my networking groups. She asked anyone in this email chain, can anyone help me out? My car's broken down, and I showed up for her. I couldn't fix it for her, unfortunately, but I made sure that it was pushed off in a safe way. So I try to take everything I could do just to help a person out, not just painting, but in everything else that I could possibly help them out with.
Okay. I know, Gary, you did mention earlier there are these really high price coaching thing, but for the sales, which I think a lot of times it's bullshit. I'll be honest, for the price they're charging. I think it's just outrageous. Like, wait a second, So, if someone's looking at that and they have the money to spend, why are they going to pick you when they can go? I'm not going to say the name, but they can go to this company. Why are they going to pick you?
Very simple. These big companies, what they'll do is they're very cookie cutter in their approach. It's almost like backing up the dump truck is everything you'd ever want to know. And a lot of times, the people that are actually doing the training don't even have a lot of experience. They hire young people. They're very robotic. This is exactly what you're going to tell them, and so forth. I see so many people that are getting into something that waste so much time, waste so much money by making so many mistakes. And one of the things that I offer is not just that I can help clients once I understand what they're trying to do with things that are going to work, but also, and I put even more emphasis on keeping you from things that are not absolutely going to work, not making all these stupid mistakes that most salespeople I see make. And I can prevent that from happening because I've done this forever and I can see the mistakes and make sure that we're eliminating those.
Okay. So let's talk about business. As Frankie, you mentioned networking, and, God, that's a lot of events, 7 events. I have a week coming up next week. I think I have something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't feel like it. I'll be honest. But they all have free food. So I'll go because, there's like some good food, and
There
they're
you
cool
go.
places and they're big events. I've been to one of them before. But, besides networking, and because networking does seem like it's changed. It is a way to get new business, as you know, because we get to know these people and you refer someone that you trust. But besides networking, in this day and age, and we'll stay with you, Gary, how do you get new business? What is your approach? Because I think the days of cold calling are somewhat over. I may be wrong, but what is your approach to getting new business?
A great question. I coach my clients that you're right. The days of cold calling are long, long over. It was long over many, many years ago, as a matter of fact. The way to get business is to develop relationships and to get what I call warm introductions based on those relationships. Now, one of the things we all do in networking is we all want to do one-on-ones. And I see so many one-on-ones that happen where they all end up great and everybody says, hey, it's great that we got to know each other, but then nothing happens. And that's what I call getting what I call a passive referral. In other words, someone says, hey, it's great to know, Tom, that you're a financial planner. You're on my list. That doesn't do anything. What I always do is I tell clients what you want is to develop what I call an active referral relationship. And that's based on they are motivated to give you a referral for one reason, because it helps them. So develop those kind of relationships where it's mutually beneficial, where you're helping each other. And when you can do that, that's everything. And that's what I've been able to accomplish. And that's what most of my clients have been able to accomplish from networking.
Okay. How about you, Frankie? How do you go about getting new business? Like, you're a painter. What's your strategy?
Yeah, so two different things here. If I want to land more residential customers, at least in my line of work, yard signs work really well. I throw a lot of yard signs out there. I'm probably at 20 to 30 a week in yard signs, and I don't know what happens to them after the fact. I don't go and collect them. I leave them there, and hopefully they last for as long as they want to last. The second thing I do, if I want to tackle some commercial clients, I'll do some donut drop offs. So I'll just go into their office. I'll break down the barrier of meeting that front office person and give them some donuts. Ask them, hey, can I talk to someone who's in charge, who could possibly make these decisions for painting in whatever space it is. And so those are my two different ways of tackling.
You ever run someone who says we're on a diet? Get out of here. You ever happen to
Not
you?
yet.
Like you
Not
come in and
yet.
they go, or like, we're all diabetic. Why are you bringing us fucking donuts? What is wrong with you? Tom, okay, how are you getting business these days? What's your strategy?
Steve, so much of it for our business, especially because it is so personalized, is by word of mouth referral, right? Our best client is the client that we've helped and helped them reach their goals. But we're also trying to delve into social media. I'm actually in the middle of a program right now where we're trying to build up not just SEO, but something new called AEO, which is getting onto ChatGPT and the other AI type tools where you're positioning your website in such a way that you pop up on answering questions for folks in the area. So we're trying to do, social media marketing, but yeah, the vast majority of the business that comes to us is word of mouth, because it is that warm handoff, that Gary talked about, right? It's you've helped somebody, they have the real experience, they can speak from the heart and say, yes, Tom did X, Y, and Z for me. It was awesome, right? So that helps.
Okay. So, well, someone posted, Kim Levy, I believe, posted about Cocktails with Cooper the other night, and Mitch Klein had said, people would brave a hurricane to come out to this thing, and that's something I'm proud of. I'm proud of that event, and I built it, and that's something It's been a year, a little over a year and a half, and so that's something I'm proud about in my business life. Okay. In my personal life, I'm proud that I'm a good husband, and I'm proud that I'm a bald, cross-eyed guy with a really hot looking wife. So that makes me always happy. I can't complain about that. So I want you to give me something in the last year or two, something you're very proud about in your professional life, and then something you're proud about in your personal life. And we'll start with you, Tom. We'll stay with you.
Sure. So, obviously, family man with a wife and two kids, proud of that 100%. But I think also just the ability we've been able to reach out into the community and help in several different events. So always trying to give back, right? And then my daughter is was a U.S. Forest Ranger. She was a wilderness ranger, and just the things that she did, the places we went, and we went and visited her out in Colorado. She was out in Aspen, and just the beautiful. I mean, this country is full of beauty. We saw beauty in Aspen, Colorado. We went down into Utah, saw canyon lands, maroon bells up in Colorado. Just the beauty of this country. Being able to see that, I would encourage everyone, to reach out and just visit those kinds of places, because it usually doesn't cost much or cost anything, but what you see is God's handiwork, and it's just amazing. So.
And there's beauty right behind this microphone, baby. I'll tell you that. There's beauty.
Oh,
right
there you
here.
go.
There you
100%.
go. Frankie, personal and professional in the last year or two, something you're proud of.
You want both answers or just one
Both.
of those?
Give me both.
Both answers. We'll start with personal. Just in the last, I have a 5-month-old daughter, so that was our first child. I couldn't be more proud of my daughter. I mean, she's 5 months old. She just started daycare. She's wonderful, and my wife and everything she went through. I didn't realize all the pregnancy and labor stuff. That was our first experience, and that was intense. I'll say the least. And professional, it's just nice knowing that I'm able to support other people's families with through my business. I pay employees; those employees, support their families, and I'm really glad I could help support other families.
Okay. How about you, Gary? Something professional and something personal in the last year or two.
Sure. So something professional it's simple. It's all the great feedback that I've gotten from clients who have indicated how much that I've been able to help them. I mean, that's why I'm doing it. It makes it all the worthwhile when someone can say to you, hey, you really, really helped me to get to where I'm trying to go. You gave me a ton of really great ideas, things that I wasn't aware of, things I hadn't thought of, and so forth. That makes it all the worthwhile. I'm really proud of that. And I've got a lot of testimonials on my website that validate that. On a personal level, and you may know this, Steve, but I am on the board of directors of the ALS Hope Foundation, which is based at Temple. I do a tremendous amount of work with them and fundraising all of their activities. We've got our annual gala coming up in April 5th at the V, right on Broad Street. So I do a lot of work with them. All the money goes for research, education, and care, and it's something that's very, very rewarding to me, and something I'm very proud of.
Okay, so you're all doing good stuff. That's always good. I love to hear that. So we get up, we got to get shit done. Okay, that's how you live. You get up, you got to get shit done. Frankie, what motivates you? What motivates you in the morning to get shit done?
Man, that's like the toughest one for me. It's really tough to get motivated some days, especially during the winter time when it's all cold and stuff. Like I mentioned in my last answer, my 5-month-old daughter and my wife, those two are enough for me to get motivated. Just want to support them as best as I possibly can.
How about you, Gary? What motivates you? Because you've had a long career. I mean, you're winding. You're doing this. What gets you up motivated? Because you probably don't have to work if you don't want to. But what motivates you?
Yeah, so I had several years, particularly towards the end of my career, where I actually hated going to work because I hated the people that were running the organizations I was working for. And this to me, I mean, I have not been happy like this in years because I'm doing exactly what I want to do, how I'm doing it, when I'm doing it. And it's been phenomenal. I mean, I love what I'm doing. I couldn't be happier.
Okay. How about you, Tom? What motivates you?
I mean, at the end of the day, Steve, obviously my family to kind of do well and take care of them. But what I'm doing for folks, I'm educating them, I'm helping them reach their goals. That's fulfilling by itself. I work with great folks at the firm. My partners, Mark and Anne Marie, are great people. So it's just a fulfilling environment, and I enjoy it immensely.
Okay. So, a lot of times people try to be open about stuff and, they talk and a lot of times people hide stuff. They don't admit weakness. They don't want to admit things. You see it on LinkedIn all the time. People are just telling you how fucking great they are. You just see it. It's a thing. But we all deal with self-doubt. Me being from a creative background and just things like that. I mean, I've woken up in the middle of the night during my career crippled, man. Just like, what's going to happen? What am I going to do? Like what, and that, you're going to always make it. I mean, that's the thing, when you get to a certain point in your life, you have that survival instinct. So no matter what, you'll be fine. But we still get it. And I think because you guys all own your own businesses, you go through self-doubt. So Tom, when you go through self-doubt, how do you snap out of it? Like, I mean, it's so funny. I still have that dream. I haven't been a waiter for years. And if you're ask anyone who's been a waiter, they always have that same damn waiter dream. Like they're sitting there and the tables keep coming in. And you're like, oh, what am I going to do? And then some old lady asks for this weird tea. So you have to go in the back and the manager doesn't help you and the tea's up high. And you ask anyone who's been a server, they'll tell you it's the goddamn waiter dream. And I've been waiting tables in years, but I still have it. And I think it may come from self-doubt. I don't know, but how do you deal with self-doubt, Tom? If you wake up and if you sit there and go, do you ever sit there and go, man, what if my client base just disappears? Like, and it sounds odd, but we think that sometimes. If you're a good business person, you do sit there and look that there will be negatives. So how do you deal with self-doubt?
I mean, yeah, we all have it, and there's always going to be some goal, financial or otherwise, that you're going to be worried about making. I mean, Steve, at the end of the day, I have, a long history. I'll just say it this way. There would be a lot of situations as an IT director that I would get involved in, and, they would be dire. There'd be lots of money at stake. There'd be lots of angry customers at stake. And we had one situation where we took down the data center at a tier 1 critical care hospital, and they could not care for people in the emergency room for a period of time. So when someone on my team would have a problem, I'd always come back and said, did anyone die? No, we can fix everything else. Okay. So when you have that sort of perspective of again, in the moment, everything seems dire, but is it truly? Is it life threatening? Is it and if it is, well, we'll have to deal with that too. But everything else sort of pales in comparison to that type of, and other people have had more severe personal events around that kind of threatening situation. But to shake yourself out of it, go pet your dog, go for a walk, get out in the sunshine and just let the sunshine hit your face, do some 4, 7, 8 breathing, calm yourself down, reset. You've probably solved this problem before. Hit the reset button, go get it, go get it.
How about you, Gary? How do you deal with that self-doubt? And you've been in sales your whole life, so you've probably gone through this a lot. I mean, it's just obvious. And you said, especially when you hated the people you work with, you're probably like, Jesus Christ, I'm oh man, what am I going to do? This is awful. But how do you deal with it?
Well, you're right, Steve. You cannot be in sales and not have to deal with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of rejection, a lot of negative. I mean, it's just reality. And it used to really bother me when you work hard, you lose a sale, you lose a client. It's like, I mean, I would have sleepless nights. And then I got some advice. You know what? Very similar, Tom, to what you said. I had a colleague that used to say, sales will cure cancer. And what he meant by that is you can be as down as you can imagine. And then all of a sudden, you get another great sale, you get another client, and all of a sudden you forget very quickly all the crap that you were dealing with because you're so excited about this new client that you've got. The sun comes back up. I mean, it always does. I mean, you move forward and you lose clients, you get more, and you always recover. You always seem to recover from it. Life, as you said, no one died, life didn't end.
How about you, Frankie? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, similar sentiment with Tom and Gary here. Like a lot of my self-doubt comes from if sales are down or if production is down because there's not enough people to produce the work. So I might just take a step back from everything, throw my phone off to the side, won't look at it, and maybe just watch like a show or something just to shut off my brain, just to entertain it with anything else other than work. And then I'll come back and I'll start brainstorming different ways to increase sales, start brainstorming different ways to get the right people. But between shutting off for a bit and then coming back just to brainstorm, that's how I bounce back from that.
Okay. This question I used to ask about, going back, like about people, someone being important to you. And I used to say, my mom was important to me, or I had an English teacher who always was important to me. He helped me, when I wrote a paper about how to give a wedgie. He said, "You have a flair for comedy. You can write. This is very funny." And he believed in me. But I changed it because we always get the same answers, either like your mom or your wife or whatever. So in the last 5 to 10 years, okay, and you can't use anybody in your family. Okay. No family. I know because I know Frankie just had a baby. You're going to say your wife. And if you don't, if she watches this, if you don't say your wife, she's going to be, "What's wrong with you? Why didn't you say me?" But give me someone, Gary, you start off, someone in the last 5 or 10 years, in this last 5 or 10 years, in the business world that has made a difference for you or helped you out in some way.
It's actually an easy one. So ironically, the last company I worked for, I spent 10 years with that company and I was selling to the federal government. And I had never sold to the federal government, which is a whole different animal. So here I was, I had all this years and years of great sales experience, and my boss is 31 years old. And I can't tell you how much I learned from him. And I learned for two reasons. Number one, because I was willing to put my ego aside and be open-minded. I said, his name was Alex. I said, "Alex, you've had a lot of success, and I'm going to be a sponge, and I'm willing to listen to everything that you've done to be successful." And he was a great kid, so we got along great and it was really easy to do. And he taught me, and I followed the guideline of what he sent out for how he was successful selling to the federal government. And he was extremely successful at it with no sales background. This kid was an engineer, but I followed the path that he took, and it allowed me to learn so much that I didn't know. And I would only have been able to do that if I was open-minded like I was. So he was really, really helpful to me. You would think most people in my capacity would say, 31 years old, are you kidding me? But you can't look at someone's age and just disregard them. And it was a lesson I learned that you never know, and just put your ego aside and your big mouth aside and so forth, and just listen, and
I
you'll
think
learn
it
a
is
lot.
important a lot of times. I always try to network with younger people too and talk to younger people because they have different trends, and we talked about this morning, Gary, at coffee with Cooper. Just that, and what you said is perfect. You have to learn, and you know what? As we get older, we're stuck in our ways. We can be stubborn, but when you do that, it's like when we started doing Zoom networking. Some people didn't want any part of it. They're like, "What is this?" But they lost so much because they were too stubborn to just jump on a Zoom call with 25 people, maybe because they didn't have a personality and couldn't hang in a breakout room or whatever reason, but they lost because they did not want to learn. And I think it's so important that, and you're in testament to it, Gary, is, we can learn something. I mean, your answer says we can learn something every day. So Frankie, how about you? Who's someone who's been important? Not your wife, but we know he loves you.
You're good.
He loves you,
Yeah.
and he loves you. He talks about you at the networking event. He was raving about you. He's saying how great his wife is, and yeah.
All
So
the
anyway,
time.
so
All the time.
yeah, right, Tom. You were
Yeah.
talking like hell.
Tom
I
knows.
said, "Hey guys, do you want to be on the show?" And Frankie says, "Excuse me, I'm talking about my wife." And so,
Yeah.
what? No. So now someone
Yeah.
who's important.
One person comes to my mind every single time I talk business, and his name's Eric. He was my owner for the last company I worked for, and I started working for him when I was 18. I was halfway through college, and he gave me an opportunity. So when I was going to college, I was going to become a teacher. he gave me an opportunity to become a general manager for his franchise. And I was really caught in between whether to finish out college or take this position. And he pitched the idea that I'm still in a position to help other people grow as people. And that spoke really well to me. And when I was with him, he gave me every opportunity to run his business. I mean, he basically gave me the keys to his business to hire how I wanted to hire, fire how I wanted to fire. We set business plans every single year for the next year. We went over P&Ls. Each week we would do a GSR meeting for all the metrics. I mean, he really at a young age, I don't know, 20, 25 maybe, or something like that. Maybe, no, at 23, 24. And he just allowed me to take over his business, and he taught me almost everything I needed to know to get the confidence to go off on my own.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, so as I mentioned, becoming a financial advisor was a career pivot, hard career pivot a couple of years ago. And, my partner, Mark, was the person who reached out and had enough confidence in me to say, yeah, I think you can do this thing. So, I mean, obviously pivotal in that career change and super important. And to Gary's point, I mean, a young man who is 30, so learning from him how he runs his business along with, his mom. So his mom and him are my partners. And I mean, it's a great family environment to be involved in. And it's been, immensely educating and also life changing insofar as it's changed my perspective, but also changed how I approach a lot of things. And it's been a blessing in that way. So it's been awesome.
Okay. I haven't asked this question in a while, but I'm going to start with Gary because I know Gary will have an answer for this. I don't read business books. Okay. There's tons of business books out there. A lot of people read business books. And Gary, you seem like someone who reads business books. I always thought that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I want you to get each of you, if you read business books, and if you don't, just say, we don't read business books. That's fine. Give me a business book that's made a difference, that's put a lasting mark on you. Like you read it and you went, holy shit, this is great. This has a lot of wisdom. Can you give me one? I'm sure you're a business book reader.
Not so much business, although it's related, but the books that I read that are business related are, surprise, surprise, sales books. And the one I recommend that I've always recommended, he's probably written about at least 20 books, but my idol is a local guy, Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey Gitomer started with what's called the Sales Bible, and he explains sales in such a simple way about the importance of understanding the word value and how you provide value to someone and how they understand the word value. So I would highly recommend reading any of Jeffrey Gitomer's books. He's a local Philly guy.
Okay. How about you, Tom? Are you a book reader? You a business book reader there?
I am a little bit. I will say, Steve, that a book written by a gentleman called Stephen Covey, Getting Things Done. The book's probably 30 years old and still holds the water today. Insofar as it teaches you to be organized, and that often is just that that foundational understructure of just being organized. It just helps you get things done. I mean, it's in the title. It's been used in organizational type settings forever. Like I said, I think the book's like 30 years old now, but it still speaks truths about how you organize your life in such a way to just accomplish things.
How about you, Frank?
Not the biggest reader, but I have read. One of them is called The One Thing. It's a goal setting book, and it really did a good job of how to create a goal, and it came down to all the small domino effects of all these small little goals reaching your bigger goal. And one of the goals I made for myself years ago was when I was with this one company, and I just had a really bad health problem. I needed to make the gym more often, and the goal was simply to leave the office at 3:30. And that was the only thing I wrote as the goal. And what that did for me was it made me more efficient with my work. I needed to leave work at a certain time. I wasn't just dragging on the work. I had to finish it, between when I got there and 3:30. And then it also helped me make sure I can make the gym in time and stuff like that. So, small goal affects so much more down the line.
Okay. So, I noticed on Facebook, I get a lot of times I get messages, not messages, people send me a request to like a company that I have no idea who it is. I don't know who this company is. It's someone I know who's saying like this company. And I think we are all now in such a world of referrals. That's what we work on. I mean, that's the thing. You hear something. That's how that's why you network. So people know you get the referral. And if you blindly just say, I like this company, and it blows up and this company sucks, it comes back to you. So that being said, we'll start with you, Tom. For you to give a referral about someone's services or business, what qualities does that person have to have?
Well, first, I think I have to have some familiarity with the person and hopefully some familiarity with whatever business or service they're trying to ask me to endorse, because I do view that as an endorsement, to a degree. The social media stuff is a little lighter, but yeah, there's a little bit of prove it to me, or I have to be comfortable with you ahead of time, to say, okay, I know Gary, I know Frank, I know Steve. If they're asking, I'm probably going to trust your judgment because I know you already. But I'll look at it before I do, right? I am going to do a little investigation. I'm going to look under the covers. It's not just click, just click because you sent me something, right? So a little bit of investigation, a little bit of accumulated value insofar as a relationship, and go from there.
How about you, Frankie?
Yeah, I kind of go through a simple vetting process that I take with me when I actually hire some of my employees. And the simple question I ask myself when I'm talking to these people is, would I trust them at a family party? And it's more about, can they hold a conversation? Do I need to be by them, holding their hand throughout this whole process? Or can I actually let them roam free at a family party and, hold their own water? And if I have this general feeling, if I'm meeting them for the first time and I haven't used their service, but if I have a general feeling that they could hold their own and I could possibly trust them, I'll give them a shot, and I'll refer it out and see where that lands me in the future.
I'm fun at family parties, so if you ever have one coming up, I'll gladly show up.
Yeah.
I have some really good stories, and I can do a little stand up, if you pay me, and it'll be fun. So, is there good food at your family parties? What's it like? What do you guys serve at your family party?
Yeah. So my mom's Filipino. We got some Filipino dishes going through, and then my dad's Italian, so we got the normal Italian stuff too.
Oh, right. I want to come to the next one. I love that Filipino food. I used to live in Vegas, and I waited tables at the Imperial Palace, and two of the guys were from the Philippines, and I went to their house for his birthday party, and I don't know what it was. These noodles were so damn good. They didn't look like anything. I ate them, oh my God. The food was amazing, and it wasn't filling. That's what was great.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gary, how about you? What do you got? What's someone for Gary Kurtis to refer someone? What kind of person, what kind of business owner, what do they have to do to impress you enough for you to refer them?
Well, it's the same thing, Steve, that I advise clients. It's all about what I call connecting the dots. In other words, I look at the person, I look at what I know about them, what they bring to the table. I look at the person that I would be referring them to and what I understand that their needs are. And I got to make sure that it's the right fit. And if it's not the right fit, I'm not going to do that, because in everything, whether it's sales related or even in life, it's all about connecting people the right way. And that would be the most important thing for me to give a referral, Steve.
Okay. This next one's a two-parter. Now, it might be the same for you. I think they're two different meanings, and everyone has different thoughts. It's what happiness is and what success is. And because we know there's many people who are very successful, but they're not happy. You run into it, and there's people who, are happy, but they're not per se real successful, but that's all how you view it. So to you, and Frankie, we'll start with you. what is happiness and what is success? Now, if you think they're both the same, that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer. I think they're different. I host this. I think they're different, but I've gotten answers from people that said they're the same. So there's no right or wrong answer. But you, what is happiness, Frank, and what is success?
Yeah. So happiness to me is just a general feeling. It's a general feeling like sadness, like anger. That's what happiness is for me, because you can't always be happy. You can't always be sad. You're always somewhere in between, or, you know, success. What that looks like for me, that's a tough one. I would say as long as everyone is okay around me and they're supported the way that they need to be supported, that's what success looks like. If someone's down and I could help them out, and me helping them out gets them to being just okay, you know, they don't have to be happy or anything like that, but they're fine now, that's successful for me.
How about you, Gary? Happiness and success.
So I think that they're two completely different things. And particularly in the business world and in the sales world, you can be very, very successful in sales because you've made your sales, you've hit your numbers, and so forth. That doesn't mean you're necessarily happy. I've always defined sales and your best salespeople as understanding that sales is very simple. It's helping someone to get to where they're trying to go. That's really what it is. And if I can do that, I'm really happy. And that's different. And they can be together, but it doesn't have to be the same as being successful where I'm hitting my numbers. Because I can hit my numbers, but maybe I'm not finding enough clients that I'm really doing that to. Or maybe I'm really helping a bunch of clients, but I'm way below quota. I'm not hitting my numbers, so I'm technically not successful. But they're two different things.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the general statement that they are two separate things. I mean, I think at the end of the day, in my lifetime, I was very successful, promoted multiple times, led large groups to high, accolades insofar as ran a services organization, a large global IT organization, had a couple hundred people working for me. We made all our financial goals and customer service metrics, and I was never sadder in my life. Okay, very successful professionally, well compensated, all those good things. Today, I'm helping people reach their goals and helping solve problems for them. That makes me happier. All right, and you know, there outside of the professional realm, happiness generally revolves around having the people around you be healthy, satisfied, and you're doing good things for them. On a professional side, I always found, when I was successful, it was helping the people that worked for me reach their goals. And so I'm kind of combined that together into my current situation where I'm helping folks, every day reach their financial goals. And that's satisfying to me. That keeps me happy. And, if I could be successful at the same time, awesome. But they've been two different things over time, I can assure you.
Okay. So, I met you all through networking. I don't even know how I met Gary. I think someone introduced you and you came to coffee with Cooper, I believe, during the pandemic. And I met Tom. I met you at Steve Mullen's thing at Top Golf. And
Yeah.
Frank, I think that I think I met you at Adjust Your Sleep Mattress Boutique. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple
Gotcha.
places.
Yeah.
We're always at the same place.
So networking is very important, and you have to do it. And you do get the burnout sometimes. I mean, for you saying, Frankie, 7 events, holy shit, that's like, man, I put on like 30 pounds because there's like good food. So what do you like about networking? And what don't you like about networking? Gary, because you're out there, you speak at events and all that stuff. What do you like about networking, and what do you not like about networking?
What I like about it, and everything I've been able to accomplish is 100% from networking, is just the opportunity that I've had to meet so many people that I've been able to help and that have been very helpful to me. I mean, it's just as simple as can be. What I don't like about it is if there's a group that they go into topics that I'm not interested in, that I feel that they're just wasting my time. And, I'm in a lot of network groups, and I tend to gravitate towards the ones that I feel that I'm going to get some value out of, either because of relationships or, I mean, there's one in particular that I go to every week that I'm not in there for referrals, and I've never gotten a referral. But it's a great group where we have great discussion topics, and I've learned a lot just from colleagues where we discuss how we handle different topics. So I want to get something out of it. And as I mentioned, there are some groups that if I'm not getting anything out of it, if I don't like the way they're running it, if I don't like the topics, I'll just move on. You're wasting my time.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, so I love collecting people's stories. I mean, all of those are educational, whether I'm talking to Gary or Frank or you, Steve. I mean, at the end of the day, hearing other people's perspective, I think gives me a broader perspective. I think that educates me and that makes me a better person, but also a better networker, also gives me the ability to interact with clients or potential clients in a better way because you've expanded your horizons, right? Um, that's just so, and hopefully you can at the same time help someone, right? Where you interact with a networking candidate who maybe you can connect them with someone else or something else that they would have never known themselves. Again, problem solving. That's always been, it's what I did when I was in IT and finance, and networking just fits like a glove over that hand going forward. What I don't like, I mean, obviously, as Gary mentioned, Frank mentioned a little bit, there are situations where you are networking and you're like, yeah, this one's not going to work out, or you know what I mean? Or you have the people that come in and they're just, they're throwing business cards around like it's raining or something like that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, cool. I try to, for me, for networking at an event, it's going to be a couple of good conversations rather than 2 dozen brief conversations, right? I'm looking to make connections, not hand out business cards. I mean, I have them. I'm going to hand them out, but I'm looking for something a little bit more than that, right? Out of those events.
At my event the other night, there was a guy just sitting at a table. No, I do that a lot. I'll go and I'll sit at the bar, I'll sit at the table and have people come up to me. That's just the way I do it because I don't, But this guy was sitting there. I go, why are you working? He goes, oh, people will come up to me. No one came up to him. I felt bad. I was like, oh, poor guy. Frankie, networking, what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah, what I like is so the ones that I've gone to at this point, I've made my rounds, and it's hard to just make my rounds with everyone in the room. But I have people within networking now that will say, "Hey, you should meet this person," and they will direct me in a room full of people. Hey, go meet this person. So I don't have to just find them on my own. I have people actually that'll help me find these people that I should be connecting with, which is awesome. The thing I dislike about it, if I'm sure a lot of people know what BNI is. They do a pretty good job of measuring metrics and referrals passed and money earned and all that stuff. I wish there was some kind of measurement with all these networking events. That is this a good networking group? Is business actually being passed around within this networking event? And that's never going to happen for the most part. That's very hard to track. But sometimes you're entering these things like Tom's saying, and there's just all these people, and it's you want a few good conversations. I don't want to just blow by everybody in the room with a 1 minute conversation. So just to understand which ones are good, which ones are not so good would be awesome.
Well, I'll tell you, if they could track the businesses, they would never want to track the businesses that came out of my event because I'd want to cut. I'd be like, give me 10% of that shit, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, come to our last question. You guys have been great. Our last question today, and I always end with this. Someone comes up to you, they're getting out of college, they're getting out of high school. Maybe they're changing their career. You don't know. Maybe they're starting new. They look at you because you're all successful business owners and you know what the hell you're doing. What advice do you give to somebody? What if someone comes up and goes, man, what should I do? What's going to make me, tick, make me, do well? What advice do you give them, Tom?
Be a lifelong learner. You just can't stop. Um, the business world is absolutely going to change around you. And if you try to stay static, you're not going to be successful. So, and when I say educate yourself, it doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a seminar. Go out and make sure that it can't even be social media posts, but make sure that you're staying current with where the business is. Try to have some visibility into the future from a guy who has had probably at least a half a dozen careers, or in my past, also that life is, it's not that chart that goes up and to the right. It's a really wavy path around corners that you can't see, and you never know what opportunity is going to be out there. So I think, just do your best each day, work hard, you know what I mean? Dig in, do the best that you can in each and every day, but also know that ultimately at the end of the day, and especially if you're in corporate, I mean, if it's your business, it's a little bit different, but especially if you're in a corporate world doesn't care for you. They don't have your name on a plate that's going to keep you there forever. If it's your business, that's a little bit nicer, but always be prepared. Prepare yourself by educating yourself so that you're ready for the next opportunity that comes down the road, because there's always going to be another opportunity.
Hey, Frankie, what advice are you giving them?
Yeah, so I would say if you're ever going into an interview, really pay attention to who you're going to be working for. Make sure it's a good environment for yourself. If you have an opportunity in that space to talk to some of the employees, just to gather their feelings, I would try to really get a good gauge on that culture in that business. Secondly, this might be for my generation and younger. You are not entitled to any position that you're interviewing for. You should earn your keep at that job. You should work hard for it. I know I was hiring a lot of you know kids out of college or college age and high school, and they wouldn't show up to work prepared sometimes, and it really showed. And I would have to let a lot of those guys go. So just really work for your keep at a company.
Okay. How about you, Gary? What's the advice you're giving?
Very simple. The most important thing for anybody, whether they're young or really any part of their career that is going to make or break them, is the level of passion that you have for what you want to do. I think that that's everything. If you're not passionate, it doesn't matter what job you're doing, you're going to fail miserably. And tied into that, the thing that I used to always look for as a hiring manager, which I did my whole career, is I wouldn't necessarily focus on their experience level or even their credentials. The two things that matter to me the most are the two words, attitude and effort. Give me someone that's young, that has even no experience, but has a great attitude and has great and willing to do the work, and I'll turn them into a superstar. That was always the most important thing.
Okay. This has been great, guys. Tom, how can people get in touch with you?
So thanks, Steve. Yeah, LinkedIn. I do have a profile on Facebook if you want to use that. Cook Legacy Advisors is the name of the firm. We also have a website. You can contact us from that. Thomas.Purvenas@lpl.com is my email address if people want to go that way.
Okay, how about you, Frank?
Yeah, if anyone wants to book any painting estimates, anything like that, go online. It's wow, the number one, and then day, so wow1day.com.
And Gary?
So, like Tom, I'm on LinkedIn. I have my website, obviously, but the most important thing is email GaryK@salestips.com. Salestips101.com. GaryK@salestips101.com.
So people reach out to them if you can. You can reach out to me, the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Basically, you can also go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and check out past episodes of the Coop Tank. Follow me, rate them, make a comment. You can go to my website, coopertalk.net. I'll be posting 80s rocker Paul Young. I just interviewed him yesterday. I have over 1,030 episodes up on there. Comedy. I will be at the Soundplex running Comedy Corks and Connections with the headliner Paul Lyons. We do that once a month. The next one is April 9th. I also being at Tony Roney's on April 26th. That's right there in 73 on Maple Shade. Next Cocktails with Cooper at Splits, and that's on April 2nd. Come on out. And if you have a networking event and you want comedy, reach out to me. Or if you're afraid to speak in public, you can talk to me about, I will coach you to become a better speaker through the art of stand-up comedy. So I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank Joe Gangemi. Hey, Joe, give us a final plug on all your shit going on.
Coop, I have too many things going on. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Joe Gangemi. That's Gangemi. I already mentioned Contap earlier. SuiteRecording, and we also do studio design and installation too. And it can be a small scale, little video set for you, or it could be a larger scale thing. So I got plenty going on, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And I'd love to meet you too. So hit me up. Thanks, Coop.
All right, yeah, and don't forget, he also does woodworking. He does some really cool work.
That's right.
This guy does everything. Reach out to Joe. He's a good guy. Reach out at hello@SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. I want to thank you all for watching or listening, whatever media you're doing it over. I appreciate you, and you all have a great weekend.